Hello to all of my chat family. How are you all doing? This is Marlene of the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. I wanted to come and bring you a late night topic. Today, I wanted to talk to you all about red flags. And I know one thing for sure is that we know of red flags, right? We know all of them. We can see them if we really pay attention. One thing we can't do anything about is a person's actions. We can't make people do the right thing, but we can protect ourselves by the things that we see. When it is revealed, when people show who they are, will we really pay attention or will we ignore it? That's the question. See, a lot of times people will always be complaining about how they get treated, but in actuality, you've been seeing it. You just keep allowing it. And I know because I've been in that space before to where I don't think that I deserve better. I don't think I can get better. Or you get so used to being put down that you don't know what a good relationship feels like, or you don't know what real, true support looks like. So that's just something that I want to throw out there that not everybody who says they're one way is actually that way. There's a lot of people who give fake support or fake love because they're a manipulator, they're jealous, they're lazy, immature. The list can go on and on. But the main reason why I wanted to come on and to do this topic this afternoon was that I'm really, it saddens me to see grown women and to see grown men allowing themselves to be run over or to be told certain things and then them believing it. Yes, I do understand that, sometimes people grow up with the bad thinking, the bad thoughts, the lack of support. But as an adult, when are you going to stop allowing people to treat you disrespectfully? And we have Sirius in the house. Hey, Sirius, how are you doing? Welcome. And that's one of the things that I wanted to say to everybody. When the real, true intentions are put out there, like you can see. And the first thing that we can definitely pay attention to is a person's energy. And we talk about this all the time. Pay attention to people's energy. It reveals itself. People show who they are, they show what they're about, and if you really realize that, I know it took me a while for me to tap into that part of me, that how I was feeling, that it was real. And we'll put up this narrative in our mind. Oh no, it's me. I'm tripping. I'm having a bad day. They're a good person. No, you know how you're being treated. I'm doing awesome, Serious. Thank you so much for always asking. I'm glad you're good as well. We really need to pay attention to how we feel, and how you feel definitely matters. Hey, Nate, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing awesome. And everybody, all my chat family, I hope you guys are doing awesome. But I did want to say that, I get so tired of hearing grown women and grown men letting people run over them. And you knew from the beginning their energy was off. Like I see it all the time, how they show up, how they treat you, how do they talk to you, or you see how they treat other people, but then you don't pay attention to what you see. You don't pay attention to how you feel. And that's really sad. That saddens me that a grown woman or a grown man doesn't feel that they deserve better in a romantic relationship, doesn't feel that they deserve better from a friend, doesn't feel that they deserve better from a job, doesn't feel that they deserve better on social media. It's, don't want to say it's pathetic, but I mean, it's tragic because if you only would believe in yourself more and not listen to what other people are saying, but pay attention to how you feel. How do they make you feel? I think that's something that's very important, to pay attention to how you are feeling. And there's so much people that deny that and say, oh, no, they treat me good. And you know good and well that they don't treat you well. But I know because I've been on that side of feeling that I needed a person in my life. I needed this romantic relationship. I needed this friend, or I needed this relative in my life. None of us need toxicity. And that's exactly what it is. There's so much toxicity in this world, and it's the very people who are right there in front of your face that are the most toxic. But we don't pay attention to those red flags because we don't want to believe that the person that you love is who you know. When, according to how you feel, you know that they don't love you, you know they don't care about you, you know that they're using you, but you stay in this fake space. You stay in the fake space, and it's time that we stop faking it and be real. Be real with yourself. Thank you so much, Sirius. Shout out to you, Sirius. Shout out to Nate. Make sure you go by and you check out Nate the Gray podcast channel. Nate says, toxic minds lead to toxic situations. Peep game. Yes. That, and I feel like so much tragedy happens in this world because people aren't willing to call it out for what it is. It's just not working. And I see it all the time from young women, and even, older women too. Just because you get to be a certain age, it doesn't mean that you are aware of um, being emotionally cognizant of how you're being treated. You really have to pay attention to have emotional intelligence. And it's rare. But when you really see those red flags, you know when somebody's playing games. You know when a person is not interested in you. You know when a person is not really your friend. We know that. We see the red flags, we feel the red flags, but it's time to stop ignoring it and do something about it. And I also have to say, on social media, it's a lot of, it's so much that I could talk about that for the next 2 to 3 hours. It's so much negativity, it's so much drama, immaturity, projections, and the list goes on and on. But when you see the red flags, when you hear people double talk with their hypocrisy or with their low vibration, their negative energy, or just using or being jealous or pretending to be close to you in order to learn something and or to get ahead, and as soon as they get where they want to get, they drop you. Been there, done that. I've been on this social media space for a long time. I've been here on this red app since 2007, and I've seen a whole lot of toxicity, manipulation, jealousy, immaturity, control, all of it, the full gamut of negativity and drama and lies and everything. So, why is it important to pay attention to red flags? Paying attention to red flags means more than just, being aware of it. Sometimes those red flags can literally save your life. I remember when I was a little girl and my mom used to warn me about things. Even my dad, sometimes my siblings, and they would tell me stuff. And it didn't make sense to me because I never had went through it. I did not have the experience. But if you're a reasonable person and you have good people who you can trust and they warn you about things. Sometimes when we are in romantic relationships or friendships, we can't see it because we've blinded our minds. We've given ourselves this false narrative into feeling that somebody is who we know they're not, but we want to stay in that zone. We care about them, or we talk about how they're going to make changes and oh, they're a good person and how much we love them. See, but us loving somebody is not good enough. They have to be able to love themselves. They need to treat you correctly. They need to appreciate you. And that's one of the things that a person who has like some mental health issues or mental illness, immaturity, jealousy, the list goes on, they're not going to change. And us sticking around and feeling like we need to be loyal to them, we're only hurting ourselves. That's what, honestly, we really will be hurting ourselves all the time. And then later on, we want to ask ourselves, why did we put up with it? And I'll tell you why. We talk about real talk here. We stay around in romantic relationships because the sex is good. You stay in a romantic relationship because you don't want to be alone. You stay in a friendship because you want their company. And all the while, we feel like a person is going to change, that friend is going to change, that boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife will change eventually because they make all these promises to us, right? They promise they're going to do better, they're going to make changes, they're going to help you, they will grow up. But all it is they're just saying things to stroke your ego. They want to tell you the things that you want to hear. Nobody really wants to talk about that, but it's the reality. People want you to keep believing their lies, and they'll keep feeding it as long as you allow it. Sometimes because they want a place to live. Sometimes it's because of all the benefits you give them, how you take care of them, how you pour into them, how you give so much love and support to them. And they're comfortable because they know you're not going to make them do anything. See, at the end of the day, we are the one that has to change that and shift that. And I know for me, I couldn't pay attention to the red flags until I removed my feelings in it because our feelings will really mess us up. We'll be talking about how much we love them and how good they are. And if you really take off the rose colored glasses and pay attention and ask yourself some real questions. When's the last time they helped me financially? When is the last time they did something for me spiritually? When is the last time they did something and they planned for me and I had to put in no effort? See, asking yourself those questions, what am I receiving from the relationship? And not anything about what am I giving. See, all the time we will be so busy giving, and pouring out into all relationships, but we're getting nothing back. Zero. Actually, you can be in a state of negative. You're not even at zero, you're at minus like 30 dealing with them. And it's only going to get worse. And I've seen so much people crash out in 2025. And I got to say, shout out to Gwen. I'm not thinking of her channel right now. I apologize, but the OK Lounge with Gwen Michelle. and she was talking about that no crash outs in 2025 and beyond. You know, we have to stop crashing out for people who would not crash out for us. They're not going to do anything to support us. They're going to stay along as long as you keep that cord. What is it called? The I can't think of the term right now, but the birth cord. When you give birth, the umbilical cord. People will stick around as long as you keep the umbilical cord feeding them whatever they need, feeding their ego, giving them fulfilling their desires, giving them money, doing things for them. As long as we keep doing things for people, they will stick around. The moment that you cut them off, this is when you're going to find out how much somebody truly cares about you. Yes, serious is so true, but it's sad, you know? And the reality of it is that nothing is going to change until we change. Nothing's going to change until we make a decision to do better. And I want that for all of us. I want you to do better. I want you to feel better. I want you to be happier. But honestly, people reveal their true intentions. If you really watch it, if you dissect it and take it apart and ask yourself these questions: how do they treat me? Are they respectful of my feelings? Do they respect my boundaries? Do they embarrass me in front of other people? Do they no show? We ask yourself, those are all red flags that are going off. And I know for me, I ignored so many red flags because you kind of get a used to it. You adjust yourself because you've been used to being mistreated for such a long time, mistreated, verbally abused, lack of emotional support. So much stuff happens to us, chat family. We get run over, run through, disrespected, unloved, no, just cold, mean, evil, dark, all of it. The question we need to ask ourselves is, why do we keep allowing it? Why do we keep letting them run over us and disrespect us? Why? That is the true question. Right, serious. It is so true. Hey, Gio, how are you doing? Welcome. Happy Saturday. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Appreciate everybody's support. Sirius says, that's why you have boundaries. They are there to protect and strengthen your emotional immune system. But a lot of times we get desensitized to how we feel because when you have people around you that are so toxic, and I know that this message is for somebody. You have somebody so toxic. It could be in your family. It can be a friend. It can be a coworker. It can be somebody on social media, and they're so toxic. And we've been putting up with it for so long that you really don't know how to cut them off because you've dealt with it for so long that it becomes like it's okay. And it's not. It's not okay to be verbally, emotionally, physically, financially abused. And that's just what these people will do if we keep allowing it. See, boundaries are not just for others, boundaries are for us too. We set boundaries so people know where they can stand with us. And it's also for us to protect us, like Sirius said. And it's also for us to be well emotionally and mentally. Because I know sometimes, like, I'll feel like I'm having a mental breakdown because of all the things that people keep asking you for. And they want you to do this, that, and the third. and they haven't done one iota for you. They haven't done not one little speck of dirt. They've done nothing for you, but they're always steady begging, as I call it, dry begging for support, for love, for money, for this, for that. And they always want, and they never satisfy. No matter how much you do for them, they never satisfy. They never say thank you. It's because we keep allowing it, and they'll never change. Trust me, I've been there, I've done it, bought a t shirt, been there for many, many years, allowed toxicity from friends, family, social media, on the job, allowed it, allowed it. And I know for me, my reason why I never stood up for myself is because I didn't like confrontation. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. And I feel like that's really wild to be so concerned about other people's feelings and they're not concerned about yours. They don't care about how you feel and what you're going through and all of that. They don't care at all. See what I missed? Nate says you got to adjust your spirit and mind to positive vibes and people. Yeah, and that is the reason that friends, I mean true friends, I don't mean fake friends, people who just come around or talk about how they're your friend. I mean the people that you can depend on, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're going to tell you, not in a rude way, but they're going to give you the tough love and tell you when you're going down a bad road. And they're going to support you and listen to you and pour into you, and those are the people that you need in your life, and you got to stop expecting for people to change and for people to do better. And I think my issue for so many years is I was always expecting me from other people. I was expecting for people to show up like I show up, love like I love, be kind like I'm kind, listen like I listen, be spiritually minded like I was spiritually minded. Expect for people to pour into me and love me and support my mental health, but people cannot give what they do not possess. Gio says she's doing good. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Gio. Appreciate you guys being here. Sierra says, by being the training wheel for anyone that's toxic, you become just as toxic. Yeah, you become toxic because you allow them to keep doing it. And I didn't know until I was in therapy that we enable people. And on my other channel, Marlene Motivates, I talk about that all the time. We enable to disable. And that means that we enable people's behaviors. We allow them to do things, and then we'll do things for them, and that disables them because we don't give them the ability to grow up, to fall flat on their face, to learn lessons. If we are always the person that rescues people and save people, we're only hurting them as well as ourselves. I know that it is so hard. It was so hard for me to see people fall flat on their face, because you see when people are going down a wrong path, a wrong course. And when you're a caring and loving person, you don't want to see people you care about crash out. Okay, I think I'm back. My internet went out. You guys know that I'm having a rainstorm. So I think I'm back. You guys let me know in the chat if I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Serious. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for hanging in there. Nope, it was me. Hey, real odds and evens. How are you doing? Happy Sun. I almost said Sunday. Happy Saturday. You did it, Nate. Yep, I am. I'm back. Yes. It was the Brooklyn Zoo. Nate did it. So I did want to say this, everybody. Um, don't let people, because of titles, friends, family, social media, relatives, romantic partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, for real, it doesn't matter who people are. And it's not about a title, it's about how they treat you. How do they make you feel? Do they support you when you're not doing well? Or do they only support you when they can get something from you? It was the Brooklyn Zoo, real odds and evens. It was all the way from Brooklyn. hmm And that was, that's how I feel 100% that you can't trust the words that people say. Unfortunately, you have to pay attention to the actions, how people make you feel. Are they supportive? Do they listen to you? Are they understanding? What about when your back is against the wall? You really have to pay attention to the people who are there in your dark times. You know, I'm the type of person where when I celebrate something good that has happened to me, I don't care about the people who are there right now when I'm to the top or when I got to where I am. I want to celebrate with people who have been there for me for the highs and the lows. They were there when I wanted to give up and they encouraged me and supported me. Those are friends. Yes. Yes, it is facts. Yes, they think their words can suffice, but for how long? Yes, how long do we allow them to, though? That's also the question. Do we really, pay attention and all the bells and the whistles? Everything should be going off, you know? Sometimes literally we have people in our relatives. Notice I didn't say family because family is people who choose you back. I'm very adamant about that. Just because a person has the same bloodline, they are not my family. Family are people who choose me back and love me back. So I have people in my life that are friends that have become like my sisters or aunts and cousins and grandmas and grandpas. They have turned into my family because they love me and pour into me. And I've said it so many times before that a stranger will show you more love than your own blood. I know it sounds strange to some people, and it took me a really long time to get that concept that I can't make a relative love me. Either they will or they're not. And some people never will. And you have to face that fact. And until you face that fact, you're going to let them control you, use you, manipulate you, drag you through the mud. You're the one that has to cut them off. You're the one that has to cut them off. hmm Yes, their words and actions has to be aligned. It has to. And if the words and actions don't align, you got to get rid of them, you know? And I think that's one of the hardest things. That was one of the hardest things for me, to be 100 transparent and to keep it real. It was so difficult for me to cut off some relatives, to delete their phone numbers or to block them because you may love them, but they don't love you back and they never will. People crash out over their family and they would never give them not even $1 or do anything if they're not going to receive anything back. And that's not family. So, to be honest with you guys, I wanted to do this topic because of something that I've been going through in my real life. And I had to talk to my own self, and tell myself this, you know, you have to pay attention to people's intentions, to people's actions, how they make you feel, their energy. Can you trust them? Or do they lie right to your face? Do they turn things around? Do they like to embarrass you or shame you? All of these are red flags that we need to really open up our eyes about. And I don't know about y'all, but when I was growing up, my parents didn't teach us about intentions and energy. It was just like, oh no, that's family. And they would just let family like completely wreck their life, live in their house, don't want to clean up, always dry begging for money, aggravating you, just so much that I had to learn that it was up to me to cut people off and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Nobody's going to make me feel bad about me having my money and wanting to keep it. Just because you ask for money doesn't mean I have to give it to you. You have to teach people tough love. They need to grow up. You got people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and up acting like little kids. I can even say sometimes little kids act better than these grown people, supposedly grown. But the chronological age does not always is not always on the same level. What they said, act your age and not your shoe size. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But we're the ones that have to say enough is enough and cut them off. Yes, it is unfortunate, isn't it serious? I feel so saddened that relatives or so called or alleged friends, people on social media really don't find out how amazing we are. And I think sometimes that they do know how amazing we are, but they don't know what to do with a good person. They don't want to act right. They take you for granted. They use and they abuse because you don't cut it off, because you allow it, because of so many other reasons. Yeah. Yes. Yes. We all know how they play now. Mm. They feel family, so called friends, lovers. Their world is the most important and nothing else matters. Anything to make them feel significant. And one thing that I have to say too, in addition to that comment, real odds and evens, is that do you have people in your life that they love the spotlight? And if you ever take any of the shine, anybody is celebrating you, anybody is saying you're doing good, or, that irritates them. They get all mad or they want to start talking about what they've achieved. Let people have the limelight, but they can't because of the negativity, immaturity. They haven't worked on themselves. that is so unfortunate because I hear people say all the time, therapy didn't work for me. No, it's not that therapy didn't work for you. You didn't make application in your life. People don't want to talk about that. That's the real truth. People say therapy didn't work. Therapy can only work if you work along with it. You have to humble yourself. Yep, it was Nate again. Listen, Brooklyn Zoo. Listen, Brooklyn Zoo, cut it out. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for coming through. And I appreciate it. I would stay longer if my Wi Fi was cooperating, but it's not cooperating. Yes. But I did want to say thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. And yes, I agree. Jealousy is the worst toxic trait because that jealousy can lead to people wanting to crash out. I That show Snapped is all about jealousy and toxicity, you know? People not learning to love themselves and be happy for themselves. Oh, especially on this Red app. One person can say, I had a good short, and people will get upset or mad because they didn't get a compliment. Now you just gave me another idea. Good. Use the ideas, real odds and evens. So I want to say, to everybody, you know, pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to who you trust, keep your third eye open. It's not about what you want it to be. It's about what it really is. And a lot of people want to fool themselves into thinking that it's something other than what it really is. Thank you, Rods and Humans. Oh yes, that's the Brooklyn Zoo. And Sirius is my tea lady. I haven't come up with a name for Geo yet, but it's coming. And I got to come up with a name for you too. Everybody gets a name. Don't blame me for nothing. Okay, we'll see. You're gonna have to pay me in roast beef sandwiches, rasta pasta, and macaroni and cheese. And I don't want that runny stuff. I want it to be a macaroni pie, like us Jamaicans eat. I don't want that gooey stuff. No, I want it baked in the oven with a crust. Okay, that's how you got to pay me, Nate. I want a macaroni pie. That's my payment. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody who's in here. Make sure you guys go by, check out all of these amazing content creators. Nate the Great Podcast, Team Bill with Geo, Real Odds and Evens. And I don't know if I missed anybody else, but also my amazing supportive mod, Sirius as a Virgo from Georgia. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's discussion. Maybe the next time, maybe next week, it won't be raining and we can do a longer live. Yes, I love mac. Thank you guys for your support. Shout out to you guys. You're amazing. You have tuned in to the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. Thanks for tuning in, and I most definitely will see you guys on the next one. And if you're listening in the replay and you've got this far, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave me a comment below. See you guys on the next one. Bye.